there everyone, this is Lizzy. Today I have this cute Valentine's Day shaker card to share with you. I used the small stitched heart die and several sentiments from the soon-to-be released Mom and Me stamp set to recreate the look of sweetheart candies, or I think sometimes they're called conversation hearts. I don't think there's anything that says Valentine's Day more than these candies. So to get started to make them, I wanted to recreate that sort of soft pastel look with some watercolors. I chose 3 colors: picked raspberry, abandoned coral, spiced marmalade. And I went ahead, as you saw, and I wet the paper completely, and then I applied the ink over that. And it creates a nice soft look, which is perfect to create the look of the candies. And then once I had that whole piece colored in, I could heat set it with my heat tool. So now I'll be using the small stitch heart die, and I'll be running that through my Big Shot. I'm going to cut out a bunch of hearts so that I have a wide assortment of color ranges to use when the shaker card is ready to assemble. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut some more out. Now that the hearts are all cut out, I'll be stamping out the sentiments. I'll be selectively inking some of these sentiments in the stamp set to create some short phrases. Since I'm sort of repurposing the sentiments for my use, my options are somewhat limited. I ended up coming up with 4 phrases to use, so I ended up dividing the hearts into 4 piles and stamped out each phrase. And I'm using the cranberry ink from Lawn Fawn. I thought it best matched the sort of reddish pinkish color that the sweetheart candies come in. Now that the shaker bits are done, I need to assemble the pieces of the card. So I decided to make a 4.5 by 4.5 square card. So I've made the card base, a front panel frame, and a white craft foam frame using 2 of the stitched square dies, and a piece of acetate using the larger square die. I'll just set those aside for now and work on the background panel of the shaker card. So I'm using milled lavender distressing to create a soft purple background. I thought it would coordinate nicely with the sherbety colors that we used for the hearts. So I'm just sponging it on, sort of creating a gradient of color so that it's a little bit darker at the bottom and a little bit lighter on the top. I just didn't want it to have a stark white background, and this way it gives it a little bit of color but not too much that it takes away from the hearts themselves. So once I am happy with the amount of color that's on, I'm just going to use some regular water and just kind of flick that onto the panel just to give it some texture. And you can see the water reacts with the distress ink, so it makes some nice water droplets. And even that big droplet that was there, you won't really see it with all of the hearts in the front, so I thought it was fine. And I'm going to go ahead and start assembling the front piece of the card. So I have that top frame, which I am applying the acetate to, and then I will apply the foam frame over that to give it the depth that it needs. And at this point I was sort of trying to figure out how tall that shaker frame needed to be, and I realized that with all the hearts in there, it was going to be not quite tall enough. So instead of cutting out another frame out of the craft foam, I just used some foam tape. I could have done this to begin with, or I could have also cut another piece of craft foam, but the tape was sitting right next to me on my desk, and that just seemed like a little bit of a quicker avenue. So anyway, if you're going to make this card, I would recommend using either 2 layers of the white craft foam or 2 layers of the foam tape. So once I have all my little pieces together, I'll put the assortment of hearts there, and then I have some glitters in some pink and red colors from Martha Stewart that will add to the shaker stuff in the card, and then I can assemble it all, stick it on, and creates a fun glittery shaker card, which is perfect for Valentine's Day. Oh, and off camera I sort of decorated the inside of the card. That Happy Valentine's Day is from the new Scripty Celebration stamp set that's going to come out. And yeah, so here is the finished card. I thought it was really fun to make. I hope you give it a try. And thanks for watching. See you next time.